So I'm real excited to speak with you. You have a lot going on, this cool initiative you're doing with Nickelodeon. I read your
Yes,
children's book, which I want to start with, Daryl's Dream, and I love the
yes,
story. And I guess I'm just going to ask how autobiographical it is, this idea that, there's this kid who's bullied at school, a kid named Daryl, bullied at
yes.
school, and then he wins the crowd over by being himself and freestyling at this school
Yeah,
talent show.
yeah.
Like, did that happen to you?
No, no, no. The whole stage thing didn't happen because one of the furthest thing from my mind was being on stage in front of people.
Mm,
I just added that in there because of what I eventually grew up to do. But the
mm-hmm.
whole bullying and getting teased thing is 100%. I got bullied and teased because I wore glasses.
Oh.
I got bullied and teased because I went to Catholic school. I got bullied and teased because I was on the honor roll. I was a good kid. I was a kid that my mother was like, you have your butt in this house when that street light come on. I was one of those kids, you know what I'm saying? And why do you think my whole career I rapped about my glasses? Because I used to be called, hey, Four Eyes, hey, Binoculars. Kids used to take my glasses and hide them. One kid stepped on my glasses. So the whole thing about being bullied about some characteristic of who you are is true. But what did I do later on in my career? D's for doing it all of the times. N for the rhyme, M's for the rhymes that are all mine. C's for cool, cool as can be. And Ron would ask me, why you wear those glasses? I would go, so I can see. You know, I would proclaim with proud and not ashamed of these glasses because I remembered all the kids that teased and bullied me when I was little. But, you know, I wasn't a violent kid. I ain't going to punch you in the face. I ain't going to hit you with a stick. But when I got into hip hop and rock and roll gave me a superpower, I was able to let them know these glasses are part of me and I'm not ashamed of them anymore. But the whole contest aspect came from I visit a lot of schools to speak to these kindergarten to sixth grade kids. You know, most of the time it's third grade and sixth grade. But I speak to these kids, and these kids, they won't go join the drama club. They won't join the science club. They won't join the dance club. They won't join the theatrical club because they think it's not cool. So me being the king of hip hop, you know what I'm saying? The
And
guy
rock.
that defied everything that was powerful, positive, and productive about it. I want to let these kids know the thing that the world thinks is corny is actually the coolest thing that will make you all the money that will have you doing everything that all the knucklehead bullies, gangsters, and hard rock and thugs wish they could do. And so it was from that aspect of I remember to say, and I read comic books. Lyndsey, I
Mm.
was in the comic books, so oh, you like so I was a geek and a nerd. But I grew up to be the most powerful entity, not just in hip hop, one of the most powerful entities in the music business. So the whole thing about Daryl getting teased and bullied and picked on, but I needed something in the book that I could really do. Two things that I really did as a kid was get straight A's, always on the honor roll, and I could draw. But then I
Mm.
said, let me make the talent. Well, actually, it was one of the guys that helped me write the story to the thing, Alan Padilla. He was like, D, it should be you as a kid signing up to get in a talent show to say your poem, which is actually a rap. And I'm trying to show kids that rap is poetry and you
Mm-hmm.
don't have to be gangstered out. So it's autobiographical. It's my it's autobiographical because of Daryl's ashamed of his glasses. He says he goes and tells his mother, Mom, what would you do if you wanted to do something, but everybody else thought it wasn't cool? So I dealt with all those issues my whole life and career.
Yeah, I want to know when you obviously became the king of rock and the king of hip hop, did you have any of these jerks who used to bully you in school suddenly coming around, sniffing around, acting like they were your best friend? Like, hey, remember
Yes,
me?
yep, exactly.
How'd you
That
deal with
happened.
that? How'd you deal with that?
I respectfully didn't disrespect, didn't hit them back because I was rubbing it in with my rhymes. I'm the king of rock, you know what I'm saying? Now you in the audience, I'm on stage, you know what I'm saying? You over there, I'm driving past, going to the airport, you still on the corner. So
Mm-hmm.
I never wanted to get at them. And that's what I'm doing with the book, because that's why at the end of the book, when the bully comes up to Daryl and says, Daryl, man, can you teach me to do that rap poetry thing like you? And Daryl says, yeah, but only on one condition. You got to be yourself. Don't be me doing this, be you. So, you know, throughout my whole career, the book is actually nothing new. It's just a different form. It's actually what I've been doing for the past 40 years with my music: inspire, motivate, educate. If you remember, one of my first rhymes was, I'm DMC, in the place to be. I go to St. John's University since kindergarten. See, the kid thing was in there. I acquired the knowledge. After 12th grade, I went straight to college. So when I said that rhyme in 1984, this was before videos, before MTV, before even hip hop albums. It was just a record. And the kids that was younger than me, I was, 17 years old when I wrote that rap. The kids 16 and lower was like, Daryl, you go to school, or you going to St. John's University and you're still cool? So I was always able to, I didn't have to say you're wrong for selling drugs, you're wrong for being a bully, you're wrong for, doing things, to being in a gang. I would put myself in a position of prominence and power, utilizing everything kids tease me for. Son of Byford, brother of Al, Banner's my mother, runs my pal. It's McDaniels, not McDonald's. These rhymes are Daryl's, those burgers are Ronald's. I ran down my family tree, my mother, my father, my soul. My rhymes was always family. My rhymes was always school. Look, I'm so gangster. I got a song, me and Running Jay got a song about Christmas that is now a part of holiday tradition forever. So every little thing that everybody else made me think was a weakness about me, hip hop, rock and roll, creativity, language, literature, education, allowed me to punch people in the face. I'm no different from Peter Parker, who lives in Queens like me. Peter Parker's an awkward individual trying to figure it out. He's a student, he ain't getting it right with the girls. He's all over but he's Spider-Man, and he's educated. So the only time I saw smart, geeky, nerdy people who were powerful were in the comic books. That's why I related to the comic. I did not know that those personas could actually work in my universe until hip hop and rock and roll gave me that power. So the same way people heard my records about, yo, DMC go to college, maybe I could go to college. Oh, shoot, DMC, Christmas time in Hollis Queens, I can relate to that. My messages resonated and related to people's everyday life situations. So I was like, man, if I did that with my music and videos, maybe I can tell stories about, y'all only know Daryl from high school, St. John's University, former Run DMC with Running Jay, and then we walked this way with Aerosmith in our Adidas to change the world and tell the world how tricky it is. Now I'm realizing people know Daryl from Hollis High School to the Run DMC thing. They don't know the Daryl in kindergarten. They don't know the Daryl in third grade. So I can tell all of those stories for the next 40 years so everybody can see the complete representation of not just, I'm just getting attention because I'm rapping and they think I'm so cool. But in my whole career, everybody discovered things about themselves. Yo, D, because you said that rhyme, man, it made me go to college. Because you said that rhyme, man, I started to think about adoption and foster care and family a different way.
Yeah, I want to talk about that. I mean, there's just so many cool things that you've brought up in all of your career, including with this book. I do think it's great that Daryl's Dream talks about bullying, because I think people are more aware about bullying now. And it's like, but back when we were growing up, it was like, oh, boys will be boys, kids will be kids,
Yes,
just
exactly.
sticks and stones. Like, it was kind of dismissed as not being a serious thing. How did it
Right.
affect you growing up? Because you've been very open about your mental health your whole life. How did
Yeah,
it affect you in the long term?
that's the perfect question. Because simultaneously with this book, not only am I inspiring and motivating kids, the book's purpose is this: you kids are perfect the way you are. Your freckles, your red hair, your height, all the things kids think is wrong with them because that's who they are. You're perfect. And like DMC, who is just like you can be whatever it is that you want to be. Matter of fact, I don't want no more rappers and no more athletes. I want more scientists and journalists and filmmakers and playwrights and all of that. So kids, we got permission to do those things because most of the kids are stuck. They look at social media and they think, if I'm not that, I'm not cool. No, you're perfect the way you are. But also, that's a great question, Lyndsey. I'm attacking self-esteem, anxiety, all of the things that are developed as a little kid that will explode when you get into your adult life. Anxiety, self-esteem, looking for things outside of you. You know, like I got to a point where the rap thing is easy because it wasn't show business. I did it so easy that it worked. I'm set up in the show business. But when I got to a point in my career to where I make a song, I get a hit record, I get on the radio, I get on the charts, and I get a lot of money. So that was working because I had a different motivation. But people outside of me who is also benefiting off of that, when they start telling me, D, you need a hit record. D, you need to be on the radio. You need, so I'm thinking about them now. So now I'm like, oh my God, I start believing what these knuckleheads is telling me. So I'm thinking I'm not enough. So I turn to Jack Daniels and Jim Beam to give me the confidence to accomplish what I already accomplished, but they're just telling me because it's not coming from. So the vulnerability and admitting I need help, I'm weak, or little things like I'm scared, confused. If the kids don't have the confidence or the abilities and techniques and situations to help them develop to navigate that, they're going to grow up with all this anxiety getting bigger. They're going to grow up in all this fear getting bigger. And I didn't need the alcohol to do anything that I did, but I thought I did. So, you know, the kids that are afraid, the kids that are scared, the kids that are not even sure about whatever it is that's going on, they need to know it's okay to have those feelings. Because when I go to speak at these kindergarten to sixth grade, when I speak at these elementary schools, and I do Q&A, it's funny, Lyndsey, when I do high schools, it's, yo, you know Beyonce? Yo, you know Taylor Swift? Yo, you know Cardi B? But when I do the middle schools and the young kids, it's, how did you feel when you got teased and bullied? How did you feel when your mother didn't let you stay up late to watch the movie? How did you feel when you found out you was adopted? How did you feel when you found out you was a foster kid? So these kids, kindergarten to sixth grade, nobody allows them to express their feelings. My Q&As with the young kids, third, kindergarten and fifth grade, are more mature than the adolescents and the high school kids.
That's
Because
awesome.
it's about feelings. They want to know. They look at me now because I go to the gym and I'm all strong looking it up. But they go, you got bullied? I said, you get bullied. They say, you get bullied. I said, no, not now. None of those guys are there. And then they laugh and stuff like that. But I tell them, when I was young, they need to see themselves. They need to be presented stories in situations in their environment. They don't need adults going, when I was little, we used to, oh, you kids need to, I don't want to be a 57-year-old young whippersnapper girl. I put Daryl now, this powerful figure who's successful, in their school, in their home, in their backyard, in their camp. So they can see, when they see young DMC, they see in DMC, but they're seeing themselves. It's like the first, like people tell me, D man, your records was the first time I had everything something to relate to. You know, I went to Catholic school too. You don't know how many people I went there too. But they were so ashamed to tell somebody they went to Catholic school because they thought it wasn't cool, but they knew they might get teased and bullied. So I'm opening up conversation, dialogue, and communication with these little kids so that we can have a conversation that'll help them develop the self-tools individually to maneuver in these situations. You know, their school, Lyndsey, is no different from our work environment. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing. So if we don't allow them to pull out the things necessary to utilize those things, they're going to have a hard time when they get to high school. They're going to have a harder time when they get to college. And then they're going to even have a worse, harder time when they get a job and going to work with people that are just as crazy as the little kids. So that's a great question you asked.
So I know you have this initiative, the Felix Organization, with Sheila Jaffe, and Sheila Jaffe being a fellow adoptee was someone you related to.
The whole adoption thing came about when I was 35 years old when I found out that I was adopted. So that was that was a huge, shocking revelation. So what happened was this. I woke up one day and I wanted to kill myself. I just had these suicidal thoughts, just felt something was wrong, things wasn't right. But then I looked back at my life. I had the best life ever. Byford Banner, Run J, hip hop music, my Adidas, first to go gold, first to go platinum, first on the cover Rolling Stone. You know, everybody say hip hop exists because of what you, Run and J did. So, but there was something that I couldn't put my finger on. And that void that was in me became very depressing. So, and it was like weighing me down. So I was like, I don't want to live no more with this feeling. So the day that I said, I'm gonna kill myself, I said, oh, if I die today, people know the DMC story. They know what me, Run and J did. You could Google me, you could Wikipedia me. We have a Behind the Music. We have a couple of just 2 books on Run DMC. So you can find out what Daryl did up to that point. But if I'm leaving now, I don't want people just to know the DMC King of Rock guy. I want people to know Daryl. So what had happened was, I said, I want to leave a book, not my 10 Ways to Commit Suicide book, my first book, Respect, Responsibility in My Life at Run DMC. I knew my birthday was May 31st, 1964, but I didn't know no details. So I called my mom's up and I had 3 questions. Hey mom, I'm writing this book. How much did I weigh? What hospital I was born? What time? She told me those things. Hung up the phone. An hour goes by. She calls back with my father. I'm 35 years old. I'm an alcoholic, suicide, a metaphysical wreck who's about to jump off a building. And they hit me. We have something else to tell you. What is it? Well, you was a month old when we brought you home and you're adopted, but we love you. Bye. Click. So imagine what happened to me. Now I'm gonna kill myself. Now I'm gonna do all of that. I mean, it was crazy for me. I didn't see any light until I met another adopted person. And that adoptive person basically made me realize I'm not alone. It made me realize that I'm not alone. I'm not the only person going through this, and maybe there's something that I can do, being the person that I am, to help people who feel like me. So the person that I met was a lady named Sheila Jaffe. She's a casting director in LA, out there in Hollywood. If you want to know what she cast Entourage, she cast Sopranos, Mark Wahlberg, John Travolta movie. So she's a big successful lady. So she was the only person that I could relate to because, oh, she's adopted like me. So both of us said, yo, we were very fortunate. What about those kids in the foster care system that might not get adopted? So we said, let's do something for them. Originally, we was going to start we was going to start the Felix facilities in every state in America, which will take the kids in foster care system and not wait until they're ready to age out the system at 18 and 19. We're going to start when they're young, 8, 9, and 10. What do you want to be? Where do you want to go? And we're going to give them life skills. We're going to give them career opportunities. And we're going to just give them every opportunity to overcome the obstacles. So we wanted to do Felix facilities in it was a crazy idea, in every state in America. Michael Lang, rest in peace, Michael Lang, who just passed away, one of the founders of Woodstock, rest in peace. Big shout out to his family. He was the guy who said, hold up, guys, I love your great idea, but you got to start a little smaller. So what we did, we started sleepaway camps for the foster kids. So send a foster kid to camp for 1 week. While they're there, you know, some of these kids never left the block. But while they're there seeing nature and stuff like that, we asked them, what do you want to be? Oh, I want to be a dancer. So for a week, they'll get dance lessons. Oh, I want to be a photographer. For a week while they're there, they get photography lessons. Oh, I want to be a DJ. So I got Jam Master Jay's son. He comes up to the camp for a week and teaches the kids the DJ. So whatever it is, the kids that want to be now, and a lot of them don't want to be rappers. That's always my joke. They want to be all of this. The kids that want to be physicians and stuff like that, they'll do outings and go to hospitals. Kids that want to be in Hollywood, Sheila put them on movie sets so they get the experience. So basically the Felix Organization now, we had to form an organization because the Felix facilities is coming later. So it's not a dream, it's a dream that's going to be a reality. But all we do with the Felix Organization for the last 15 years, Let's provide educational, academic, and recreational opportunities for kids who are still in the foster care system.
And thank
Yes.
you. But I know you've told this story before, but I'd love to get more details that another fellow adoptee, Sarah McLachlan, and
Oh,
her son
yeah.
Angel was it kind of saved your life, almost like literally
Yes.
saved your life.
Yeah, yeah. That was the song that kept me from jumping. Because every time I would hear that song, a peace would come over me. And it would just make me say, yo, life may be crazy, D. Life may be effed up. You know what I'm saying? The world could be ending now, not tomorrow. The world could be ending now. But as long as I got something this beautiful, it's okay to be alive. So the song was called Angel. She sounds like an angel. And people that knew her said she really is an angel. But that record was like God speaking to me. So what had happened was, long story short, I heard the record. I listened to the record for 1 whole year while I'm going through all of these emotions, everything, suicide, I want to kill myself. What's this void in me? I'll go through 1 whole year of listening to the song. Come to LA, fly out to LA because my publicist and my manager was like, yeah, he crazy. He's going through something. Keep him busy. So they got me tickets to go to Clive Davis Grammy party in LA. So I get to Clive Davis Grammy party and who walks in? Sarah McLachlan. And I'm like, wow. And it had never happened to me personally, but people always come to me, yo, DMC, man, your records got me through some of the hardest times in my life. But you know, my parents were the worst parents ever. I would just sit in my room for hours and listen to the Raising Hell album, or I would listen to the first album, stuff like that. So it gave me an opportunity. Wow. I was like, D, go tell her what her music did for you. So I just walked up to her and said, Sarah, the name of the record's Angel. You sound like an angel, but you're not an angel to me. You're God. I listened to this record, every day for the past year, whatever. And she says, wow, thank you for telling me that, Daryl, because that's what music is supposed to do. So the killer thing is 3 years go by. I make the phone call to find out that information about me being adopted. So when that happened, after my mother and father was like, you was a month old when we brought you home, you're adopted by, they hung up the phone. So I sat there and then I was like, wow. But being in the position that I'm in, maybe I could make a song to do for people who feel like me the same way Sarah McLachlan's song did for me. So long story short, I called her back up and I was like, Miss McLachlan, I want to make a remake of Harry Chapin's Cats in the Cradle. Because Harry Chapin's Cats in the Cradle was about a father who had no time for the kid. But I wanted to talk about my mother and father and my family who gave me everything necessary for me to survive. And I was like, will you do this record with me? She was like, you're cool. And, I was like, I just found out that I was adopted, this and that, boom, bang. So she was supposed to come to New York, but she says, no, Daryl, come to my house in Vancouver, Canada. So we flew to Vancouver, Canada. We made the song in her studio. And at the end of the session, I didn't notice when I first heard a song 3 years ago. It just was resonating me, vibe. It just felt like me. At the end of the recording session, she says, Daryl, there's something I need to tell you. And I'm like, what? She goes, I'm adopted too. But I didn't know that. See, that's why she told me, come make the record with me. And it's funny, it gets deeper than that. It was about 4 years ago, I just found out that the record, Angel, was a record about suicide. She wrote the song about the Smashing Pumpkins keyboard player who committed suicide.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, so it's real deep. So the vibration of the record, adoption, suicide, that's why it resonated with me so much. That's powerful. She waited to tell me after we made the Harry Chapin remake. There's something I need to let you know. Because she could have told me on the phone when I first called her. She said, oh, I got to tell this guy. She said, I would, and it was known that she was adopted, but she don't discuss hers or whatever. But that was just something she had to tell me face to face. And that's why she said, when I first met her 3 years ago, before we made the record, she said, thank you for telling me that, Daryl, that's what music is supposed to do.
Well, you mentioned your second memoir is called 10 Ways Not to Commit Suicide. And I don't want to trigger you by asking questions that are too
No, you could. I
or
talk
anything.
about it all the time.
So you were literally going to jump? Did you have?
Yep.
a plan? Like how close was it just something you had a thought of, or were you actually really
No,
like,
I was planning it out and everything. I talk about it in 10 ways not to commit suicide. It was Yugoslavia. We was in Yugoslavia one time. This is when Jay was alive. Okay, you gotta understand something. I had suicidal thoughts. I had devoided me the mystery. At 35 years old, I found out that I was adopted, and it didn't end there. Then Jam Master Jay got killed. So this is all before rehab and therapy. But in the book, when I was going through it, we was touring in Europe, getting a lot of money every night and stuff like that. But we was in Yugoslavia one time, and we did a photo shoot on the roof of a hotel that didn't have very good safety security procedures. So I noticed that. You know, I'm in my crazy zone. I don't hear nothing going on every day except, what is this void in me? Imagine me going through life every day, and people were seeing me. I was doing the shows, but even while I was doing the shows, I wasn't there. My whole thing was, I'm gonna kill myself in between verses and miserable. But this one particular day, we was on the roof of the hotel, and after the photo shoot, when we left the roof, I noticed they didn't lock the door. So this is all in the book. I went back up to the roof and I was getting ready to jump. And that's the thing that caused me to write the book. In that moment, I was like, Daryl, you can't kill yourself yet, because nobody knows who DMC, everybody knows who DMC is, but they don't know who Daryl is. And the other reason I keep it real too, that I didn't jump, I looked down and the kid, I talk about this to kids, and I talk about this, high school kids and middle school kids, and I talk about this to adults. And it's in the book. I say, I looked down and I said, do I really want to jump? And I said to myself, man, what if I jump and I don't die? It's going to hurt. So then we went from Europe, we went to Japan. So in the book in Japan, I went to the hardware store in Japan to try to buy rat poisoning. Because now it's okay, I didn't jump, let me drink the rat poison. Like I thought about every way to try to kill myself.
10 ways?
10 ways,
like
yeah.
the title of the book?
Yeah, like 10, well, not maybe about 4.
Four's too many.
Jumping, drinking poison, shooting myself, but my manager wouldn't give me my gun. He kept the gun in the seat.
Glad.
And then the other thing was jumping on the 3rd rail and electrocuting myself.
I hope you don't have, it seems like you're in a very good place now.
No, I'm good now.
You don't have thoughts like this anymore, I hope.
No, not at all. Because after all of this, I found it. I made the song with Sarah McLachlan. I met Sheila and this and that. So the good thing about when I met Sheila, she had been struggling with the emotions of searching for her birth parents 3 times and hitting dead ends. So what she did was Mark Wahlberg, who's one of her clients, once a month, Mark Wahlberg would give her the keys to his offices in Santa Monica, and Sheila would have these adoption discussion group meetings. And when she told me, I was like, what's that? She said, there's no destination. You just go in a room and you talk. You know, and it gives you the opportunity not to be ashamed about anything, not to worry about, you could just talk. So I was flying back to LA to do these we call them Adoption Anonymous meetings. And basically it's the rapper, the adopted rapper, adopted casting director, the adopted lady from Vietnam, the adopted lady from the Korean War, the adopted guy from Australia, the adopted lady from London, the UPS driver, like all of these adopted people in the room, just talking. So by the 7th meeting, what had happened was, it was like, Daryl, do you want to know who your birth parents are? And I was like, Lyndsey, I was like, no, nope, don't take me down that road. I said, y'all hear the records. I pulled out my records, Son of Byford. It's McDaniels, Daryl McDaniels. I pulled Christmas in Hollis out, Christmas time in Hollis to go, that's this is who I am. So what had happened was, after about the 9th meeting, they said that to me on the 7th meeting, and I threw it, nope, don't want to go there. So every meeting they would bring it up because they were instigators, but they were instigating in a good way. So by the 9th meeting, they told me, Daryl, well, this famous adopted lady, who's not celebrity famous, but she's famous to us adoptees, because she said this. She said, the reason why an adoptee should search, you don't have to, it's your life, you deal with it, nobody can define it, not even the government can tell you what to do. And the laws about adoption are messed up in a lot of states still. So we're working to fix those. But the famous adopted lady, who's not celebrity adopted, she said the reason why you should search for your birth parents. And this killed me, Lyndsey. I mean, it was like, Dad, why did you have to say that? I thought it was going to be something I could escape. She said, the reason why you should is you never start a book from chapter 2.
Oh, wow.
I was living my life from Hollis, Queens, St. John's University, Christmas in Hollis. That's all true of me. It's part of my story. But everything that the world knew about me, that I knew about me, up to that date that I heard that was all chapter 2. The void in me that I started feeling that started all of the suicidal thoughts and all of that, the void in me was, I didn't know what chapter 1 was. So when they hit me with that, I was like, wow. So, you know, I said, if I'm gonna go down that road, I gotta be of sound body and mind. So I said, I'll go to rehab. And people was trying to get me to go to rehab for 5 years. You know, I was a functional drunk. I get real drunk, but I never missed stuff and stuff like that. So I go, all right, I give in. I got to go to rehab because I wanted to be of sound body and mind to go find out, scared to death to find out what's in chapter 1. So I went to rehab, and it was in rehab where I discovered therapy. In therapy, just like the adoption therapy that we created ourselves, this institutional therapy was no different from the self-therapy that we created. When I got to therapy, it was just me sitting there talking about how I felt my whole career and everything.
Did you meet your bio parents eventually?
Yeah, it took a lot of coaxing me to go down the road. The thing that helped was my therapist. The therapist that I was seeing knew a doctor, another therapist lady who worked with the kids in the foster care system. She was a therapy for these foster kids, but she knew a private eye. She knew a private eye who was an adopted lady who started a private eye company strictly for adoptees. So that kind of made it easy because she could relate to what I was going through. And when I needed to talk, when my therapist wasn't around, I was still able to talk to the private eye because the private eye was walking me through the journey like a therapist. How do you feel about that? You sure you want to do this? She never forced anything, but it was crazy. She found out what my birth, first of all, she found my birth sister. She found a sister, and then she connected that sister to my birth mother. And then she found 2 brothers that I didn't know I had. So it was good having somebody helping me search that is in my same shoes. So I found my birth mother, 2 brothers and a sister I didn't know I had.
And are you in touch with them? Do you
Yes.
have that's so cool.
Fortunately, the reunion went very, very good, which a lot of times it doesn't. But fortunately, the reunion went very good. So that was I found my birth mother on Thanksgiving of 2004.
Oh, that's
which
amazing.
is the same year, yeah, which is the same year I got sober. And then for Christmas of 2005, I had for Thanksgiving of 2005, I had Thanksgiving with my birth mother and my adoptive mother, we was all in the same room.
That is an amazing story because the question I was about to ask was, as
Yeah.
you mentioned, your parents didn't tell you were adopted until you were 35, and they told you in kind of like an abrupt and jarring way. Were you angry with them?
Very.
And
Well,
I assume
wait, hold up. I didn't get angry until I met other adoptees. Because, Byford and Banner, look, that's my mother in the Christmas in Hollis video, Chasing the Elf.
Amazing.
So I didn't get mad until I realized that, and the anger was not particularly at them. I have a saying now about anything for anybody going through anything mental, all these mental health issues. Since I'm the greatest rapper that ever lived, whether you believe it or not, the saying is, if you remove guilt and shame, you remove the pain. So my anger was mad at them for being ashamed. And they was trying to protect me because you got to understand, in the 60s when I was born, there was no dialogue and there wasn't no outreach and stuff like that. So they didn't know what to do. Their thing was, it's best if we keep who he is a secret. Let's not tell him, because I'm a straight A kid from kindergarten to 8th grade, honor roll straight A's. I can see my mother ask my father, you think we should tell him now? No, and they did. No, he's doing really good. He's fun. They thought something was wrong with me. He's doing really good. He's functioning like a normal kid. Let's keep it that way. So I go to high school. I did so well. They thought my truth would break up the well-being of me. And think about it. That's why I started a comic book company. Who did I only see when I was little that I related to? Superheroes. Most superheroes are adopted. Most superheroes don't have their parents. Most Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, and Spider-Man really blew my mind. He didn't have his parents like me, and he lived in Queens. So my therapist is showing me now all of this stuff that were Easter eggs in my development.
That's amazing.
But my anger, and we're mad at lawmakers, and we're mad at a lot of people that run these agencies and foundations. They don't let him know he's adopted. It's like a seek our truth, but that's my truth. My truth, no matter how unfortunate it is, it empowers me. It's part of my strength. It makes me realize, oh man, I'm a survivor. If I can survive, now it's my obligation and duty to go. My situation was like a Superman. Daryl, we need to tell you something. You're not really one of us. You come from something else. But if I never had them, I would have never became the mighty king of rock. So there's so many similarities to me and superheroes. And Tony Stark was an alcoholic. Batman have some mental control issues. Those are the important things. That's why the characters you see in pop culture, you can relate to Harry Potter, not because Harry Potter is great, because Harry Potter and his friends are just like you and your friends at school or in your family. So all of these things that I was attracted to, weaknesses and strength, is actually things that allowed me to dominate everything that I ever did. It's crazy.
You mentioned that back then there wasn't any kind of open dialogue about the adoptive process, but in general, just a general question about open dialogue. In hip hop now, you see artists like, rest in peace, Juice WRLD, or, like Kid Cudi, Logic, Tyler the Creator, Frank Ocean, Eminem, even Kanye, who now they both in conversations and in their lyrics will talk about mental health. It's like pretty open dialogue now in hip hop, but for a very long time in hip hop, it wasn't, because of this machismo.
Exactly.
You were one of the first, if not the first. So I'm curious about your thoughts about how you were a pioneer in that realm, or just how in hip hop it used to be not okay to show vulnerability, and now it is.
No, it was always okay. People were afraid to. Now, most of these people now is taking upon, I can do it now. My thing is, why you didn't do it before? But think about my whole career. I didn't come in rhyming, I'm a gangster and I'm a thug. From day one, my rhymes were about stuff that people didn't think was cool about the streets. So you got to understand, every problem that we have, especially with hip hop now and the young kids and the girls and stuff like that, the music doesn't cause it. These are self-esteem issues. The kids is thinking, I got to be as street and gangster as Jeezy to be successful. I got to get naked. I have to get naked. These girls is thinking, I got to pole dance and call myself bitch and hold a beat. No, you don't. The most powerful women in hip hop, Queen Latifah, Moni Love, MC Light, better than 99.9% of dudes today. It always existed. Right now, what's happening in the last 20 years, I would say, more in the last 15 years, the thing that's going on right now is negativity is being used as a false sense of power. Ignorance is being celebrated. Stupidity, disrespect, And everything that is wrong with us as human beings is being celebrated. So long story short, if you put it into the culture of hip hop and to the aspects of mental health, what's been going on, and not just in our situation, now it's just amplified because of all this technology. Harmful behaviors and negative behaviors are being celebrated in communities. So now, Kid Cudi, for him to do it, Kanye, Eminem, now they know it's okay to mention that. But why did they come from day one? All my rhymes was about family. Son of Byford, brother of, my Adidas wasn't about me having, like if you hear these records, my car, I got this, I got money, look at the money on my neck, just in that, just celebrating all this ignorant. And ignorant doesn't mean something's wrong with the individual, but ignorant is a harder word. You are an ignorant person, ignorant. Your ignorance is worse than saying fuck, shit, motherfucker. Ignorant means you're ignoring the truth. So Run DMC, we changed the world because Ice-T said this. DMC is the only MC that can rhyme about family, Christmas time, chicken and collard greens, and Christmas, and make it gangster. My rhyme on Adidas was, my Adidas walked through concert doors and roamed all over Coliseum floors. I stepped on stage at Live Aid. All the people gave and the poor got, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So Adidas was like, wow. My things were so much more universal than how great DMC from Hollis, Queens was. But that's because here's the other missing factor about it. Our hip hop culture gets disrespected on a daily basis by the entities in the community that's controlling our music. What I mean by that is you got all of these stations across America in the communities with all of these problems, everyday shooting, mental health, alcoholism, sexual problems. It's just all this ignorance is running rampant. And they claim, we're the station that loves hip hop. Every station has that. And I said, no, you don't love hip hop. You love the profit off of hip hop. Why? There's no records on your playlist telling the kids it's cool to go to school. It's no records on your playlist like Tupac made Brenda Had a Baby addressing teenage pregnancy. There's no records on your playlist. Every 30 minutes, they play the same records over. It's smoke, drink, pop pills, have sex, and shoot. Smoke, drink. There's no records by artists of this generation, like a KRS One saying, you must learn. There's no, and they all exist. They're not given the opportunity to change the very neighborhoods that the hip hop culture was created for, so the change can come about. Parents can't understand why Will Smith and Jazzy Jeff was a record that related with the gangbanger in Compton and the kid in Beverly Hills that went to Harvard. Why? Parents don't, there's no universal themes which will prevent and lower the number of deaths in Chicago with these kids, the highest murder, the communities with the highest murder rates. There's no records on 24 hours every 30 minutes so that the kids can get programmed that those things are okay. So it goes deeper. When Run DMC came out the box, we changed the world because we were good. We got everything we did. Sneaker deal, MTV, first to go, because we were good. We wasn't ignorant, we wasn't disrespectful, and we allowed the gangbanger in Compton to sit right next to the Harvard Beverly Hills kid, white, black, Jewish, Asian, look at each other and say, we are the same. What could we do to make it better? Now, go to a hip hop station, just turn it on. It's not great. Of course, hip hop is the most. Why did they make the announcement? And this goes deep into conspiracy theories and all that. But why did they announce how great hip hop is at one of its most violent, volatile, disrespectful, ignorant times in history? Hip hop's a global phenomenon. It's the #1 genre. Well, I've been touring since '84. I've been going overseas. I've been going to Europe. I've been going to Moscow. It was always that. They just didn't mention that because you had groups like Public Enemy, KRS One, De La Soul, Tribe Called Quest, Run DMC. That's a whole nother story. They didn't give us the front pages. Run DMC was the safest. Run told me this too. Me and Jay didn't know that we were the safest thing in the world in 86. We dominant. Michael Jackson said we should have won all the awards. We was gonna make a record with Michael Jackson. He told us how great we was. So that's enough for me. You know, we never got to cover Jet magazine.
Really?
We never got to cover Black Enterprise. Chuck D was outraged. He said Run DMC was never celebrated because of the way we looked. We looked like the drug dealers, but the knowledge and power that was coming out of our mouths was so powerful. Somebody didn't want that message to be, but they couldn't stop it once it got on MTV.
Yeah.
But what did they do? Didn't they take away your MTV Raps? Because your MTV Raps saw the diversity of artists. Now you look at MTV, it's the same guys doing the same, and nothing against them. They're not the problem. I'm not mad at what hip hop does. You know, the OGs, all the OGs from the 90s to now, we're not mad at what hip hop is doing right now. We're mad at what it's not doing.
Well, I want to kind of bring it full circle with music, what hip hop is doing that's positive and has good lessons, because we haven't talked about what you're doing with Noggin. I know you wanted to talk about that, the music that you're doing. Tell me about that. You have like little videos and shit.
Right. Well, it's nothing that the educators haven't been paying attention to over the last, I would say, 10 years. When I got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 09, when Run DMC got inducted in 09, and I was doing all my interviews, and I spoke just like this 10 years ago when I got inducted. They asked a question. I was a kid around about chicken and collard greens in St. John's and stuff like that. And I made people see, I made gangbangers put the gun away and go to school and stuff like that. So the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame called me back that same year to do a panel discussion in their auditorium at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And the subject was, could hip hop and music in general be used to teach our children? To teach, because that's what they listen to all the time. And this was basically with high school and middle school kids. So they brought teachers and educators from all 50 states in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, put me on the stage, and we talked about it. About 9 of the teachers was already using hip hop in their class curriculums. And they said, the arithmetic scores increased, social studies scores increased, because you're communicating with the kids in a language that not that they understand, do your homework, but you're communicating with them with a process they can utilize to make themselves better. So when me and Nickelodeon said we're going to use this book to inspire and motivate kids, one of the things they heard me say was, my whole career, I would inspire, motivate, and educate. So Nickelodeon has a partnership with Noggin, which was already this educational platform. But all of our children, and adults too, but right now, all of our children learn a lot of hip hop songs we don't want them singing. Because a lot of times they don't know what they're saying. I'm talking about the little kids. They will sing a Young Thug song, and where'd you learn that from? Because they hear it. They might not know, but they learn it. So Noggin and Nickelodeon say, yo, what better opportunity to use hip hop to educate some of these, preschool and early elementary school kids than using the king of hip hop to do it. Who the kids' mothers, I've been around so long, their grandmothers and grandfathers know who I am. So now the kids, they might not know King DMC to Walk This Way, My Adidas Man, but they know the It's Tricky TikTok Man, who's the same man that's been in my household since I was since I was born. So what Noggin decided to, they were doing it already, but now they're using a voice, a presence in the whole culture of hip hop to teach kids the meaning of words like cooperate, kind, nice, togetherness, share, as opposed to what they see on reality shows and what they see rappers do, beefing and fighting and arguing and acting ignorant and using bad words. So we're taking language and literature and we're putting it in a hip hop format so that we can empower these kids in kindergarten and 6th grade now. So by the time they get to 7th grade, they're highly evolved.
Like you.
You know what I'm saying?
Evolved.
And that's because, and that leads me to go back to the beginning of hip hop. In the beginning of hip hop, the most powerful thing for me, I grew up in Queens, New York. I had both parents in my house. I went to Catholic school. We had a fence around the house. We had a dog. I had a good life. The thing, what people don't realize is when hip hop came from the Bronx in the 70s and the Queens, you got to remember in the 70s, the Bronx was burning. The Bronx was on fire. There were no social, economic, or political support for New York City. 42nd Street wasn't Disney. 42nd Street was totally different in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. It was heroin, crack, gangs. It was crazy. But out of the Bronx, when I first heard hip hop, not on records, when I heard the live performances of these boys and girls who had nothing, they were the very ones saying, it's cool to go to school. All the gangs became breakdance crews. Instead of shooting and fighting each other, they used their talents to compete, which elevated them. But Busy Bee, Cold Crush 4, Kool Moe Dee, these got the Funky 4+1. Sha Rock was a female. She was the +1 in the Funky 4. She was a girl MC existing in a male-dominated era, but all of their records was about, yo, we don't want to go to jail. We don't want to go to school. So I was surprised. I was like, yo, these are the gang bangers themselves making raps and songs about what they wanted. So I realized it was my responsibility when I put that thing in everybody's living room. That was of course, the message is relevant, but the creators, the real pioneers of hip hop, they wanted the message to be understood, but they also wanted vision. We could change all these things. And that's why hip hop generated Tribe Called Quest, Big Daddy Kane, Rakim, KRS-One, Public Enemy, De La Soul, Cypress Hill, you know what I'm saying? Now you got a bunch of boys and girls rapping the same sound and same images. So the younger generation is thinking, oh, in order for me to be accepted into my culture of hip hop, I gotta be ignorant, I gotta say cuss words, which isn't true. Now, on that note, hip hop was always universally, it was a universal presentation of representation. What I mean by that, we did have the 2 Live Crew, which was very sexual, and we did have NWA, which was very social, political, dealing with those issues. The problem was, once the negative aspects of hip hop started being pushed, everything else got pushed to the door. No, we just need to let the NWA sold 5 million records, sign more NWAs. 2 Live Crew sold 3 million records, sign more 2 Live Crew. But don't alienate the school guy because his only sold 500,000. Because the school guy is not reaching the NWA and 2 Live Crew audience. The school guy's music is reaching everybody else, but not from a showbiz entertainment standpoint. People are hearing the guy talk about the school, so they're busy going to school. They're not home listening to the rap station. I think old school at noon is disrespectful to the old school. Why? Where are all the kids at noon on a weekday? In school.
Right. Okay.
They're not home listening, so they will never hear Rakim say, I used to be a stick-up kid. But as soon as they come home, I got racks, I got my 9, I got my Nina, my Berta. They're not hearing MC Light records. They're not hearing Queen Latifah because they're in school. But when they come home, when the kids get out of school 3 o'clock, from 4 o'clock to midnight, they're hearing the same misogynistic, sexual, violent records over it. So they become I'm a radio programmer. They becoming programmed. So the same way you can program them to only realize that reality, it's the same way we got to deprogram them with, you don't got to be in a gang. Yeah, but we want the record about the gangbanging to be played. But we also want, as soon as that record's played, the very next record should be about the guy that's not in the gang. So the kid could go, oh, man, I don't want to get shot. But if you keep playing those records and images, what are the kids going to do? Public Enemy, KRS-One. We had a big violence problem. What did we didn't, the record companies didn't do this. KRS-One said, we're going to make a record called Self-Destruction. We're headed for self-destruction. And went and got everybody that was famous to be in the video, and everybody came in showed up. You think people are gonna do that now? Let's make a record about stop the shooting in Chicago and have all the top MCs and personalities on the record for free.
To bring it into the present, since you're talking about this, are there any modern rappers, hip hop artists now that you feel are doing the positive messaging that
Oh,
you're
Chance the Rapper, Kendrick Lamar,
Mm-hmm.
J. Cole.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So Chance, Kendrick Lamar, and J. Cole should get together, make a self-destruction now, and every label that call themselves hip hop should put up $10 million to promote and market it. Think they're going to do that?
Well, you can place the call.
I just put it out there. It's out there now.
You should do
Hire
it with them.
Chance, and they'll probably do it for free. Chance, Kendrick, and J. Cole should do the new self-destruction record, and all the proceeds. First of all, every label that benefited off of hip hop should put $10 million in the pot, and then we take that $10 million to Chicago, take it to Camden, take it to Jersey City, take it to Compton, and we build. Let's do all the schools over. Why do you think Chuck D shut them down, said, I like Nike, but wait a minute, the neighborhood supports to put some money in it. We buying your sneakers and all you can do is come to my neighborhood and redo the basketball court. Now I understand the basketball needed to be fixed, but what about the schools? The kids don't like the schools because the schools are worn down. You think they want to be in there every day? But if you, like a lot of schools have done, if you make the school beautiful, give it the state-of-the-art technology, add the music and the artistic programs in there, things in our communities would change. So what I'm trying to say was, we was doing that with our hip hop culture without their help. So they stopped playing those records and stopped putting those videos on. So now the kids don't see, like you just said, Lyndsey, it does exist.
Well, it exists with what you're doing now. I appreciate all you're doing for today's youth, all the advocacy you're doing. It's been
I'm utilizing the things that's in front of me. Books. Oh, the same way the kids' book is just another record. It's another album. And
there you go. It's part of the whole discography.
Yes, exactly. Daryl's dream is that, and it's funny, a lot of the parents want the book more than the kids because now they know me from high school till Walk This Way. Now they're seeing, they can even relate to DMC in third grade. So they want the book. It's like a part, they put the book right next to the Raising Hell album.
That's a good collection. I want to, I know we've gone a bit long, but I want to thank you for all the time that you've given to this interview alone, but to all these causes, all the positivity you've been putting out into the world since 1984.
Well, I guess it's like I tell everybody, everything that I did as DMC was just to set up for what I was put here to do. That's why the gods had to reveal to me, no, have his mother and father tell him he's adopted now. You know what I'm saying? He has to find his purpose. And in that, I found my purpose and destiny, which led me right back to what I was already doing. Like when I thought, I don't want to live no more. When I found out that I was adopted, that's just another story to add, you know, Christmas in Hollis, my Adidas. Now I can talk about adoption. Now I can talk about, it's all connected for sure.
It's been great speaking with you. Thank you so much for your time.
So hold up, shameless plug. The new song is out now. It's on YouTube. Go check out the video. The song is called Ghetto Metal. It's
amazing.
If you love Rock Box, if you love King of Rock, and if you love Walk This Way, Ghetto Metal is the reason why Run DMC decided to do all of those rock rap songs in the first place.